It's Golden Hour Adventure Time, featuring everyday people doing extraordinary things. From the peaks of victory to the valleys of defeat, these are their stories. Now, from the back of the pack, your hosts, Justin and Robbie.
Welcome to Golden Hour Adventures. Today is the Tales from the Trails. It's just me and Robbie hanging out, talking. Before we started the podcast, we were deep dive into books. And so I listen to books a lot. Robbie listens to books a lot. I'm trying to convert Robbie into fantasy because I feel like if, he's more into fantasy and not those like motivational self-help books, like we can break him out of his shell a little bit. So let's just continue where we were. I was talking about a most recent book series that I'm listening to called Dungeon Crawler Carl. If you haven't listened to it, I don't read because I don't have the attention span to actually sit down and read a book. So I listen to books and I say read because I listen to them. They're books. I don't care. You come at me, whatever. But yeah, I listened to Dungeon Crawler Carl and I'm on book 4 out of 7. It's hilarious. Check it out. Try to talk Robbie into it. He just bought the first 4 books. So hopefully I can win him over on the fantasy side of things. But
well, it's funny because we were talking and, I was listening to these Dungeon and Dragon books that this guy suggested. And I was telling Justin that I've always just done self-help books, motivation, all that stuff. But I listened to this Dungeon book, and I don't know if I can go back to self-help books anymore because, it's fun to go in that fantasy world and, live something that you really can't live through a book.
Yeah, honestly. And then they find these creators that just the narration of their voices and the way that they can voice different characters. And I'm just so fascinated by that. It blows me away when you're listening to one person read a book, but it sounds like there's 50 different people. And that's the cool thing. Every self-help book I've read or motivational book, it's just like, hello, my name is Justin and this is Golden Hour Adventures. And I'm like, I'm already asleep. I'm running and I'm asleep. I can't do it. It's so bad.
And I've bought, some of those books where the Audible books where the person that wrote the book reads it. Sometimes, it's pretty good. Other times, like you said, it puts you to sleep.
Sometimes, yeah, you're right. Sometimes it's okay. I like autobiographies read by the author. I think those are good because it's like they're reading their story, and I get that. And I know going in that it's an autobiography and it's not a motivation book or leadership book. I don't know. I just I've tried on those and I can't do it. They're just too bad. They're awful. And so
it takes me back, to when I got Goggins' first book. And, I saw that he was reading and I'm like, this is going to be fucking interesting with Goggins reading his own book. But the way he did it with that podcast style and,
I thought that was great. Yeah,
just broke it down. We got to learn more about David Goggins. We all see what he posts on social media and, the podcast has been on, but just listening to him talk about some of those ones, then when his second book came out and he had his mom on there, I was like, it was good stuff.
Yeah, I think that book, I wouldn't classify that as more of a motivational or because I feel like he just kind of told his story.
Yeah.
And his story in itself is motivational, but he just told his story and where he came from and how he became who he is. And regardless of what I'm sorry, I thought I had something on my shirt. Oh, I do. I think it's spit up. Yeah. I don't know, man. It's his story was great. I don't follow anything that he says and I do nothing that he does, but I thought that it was a great book. But you know what? He got so many people under our sport. And I think that's a great thing.
Yeah. He got people to, stay hard,
just not too hard because that's weird.
Yeah, right. Every time I just think about it still, then, Andy Glaze will do his stuff. Who's going to carry the boat, yell it out in the middle of usually on road races, on marathons with his wife or whatever. And I think it's pretty funny, think what we want of Andy Glaze, but if someone's yelling, who's going to carry the boat?
That's hilarious.
Some people are going to get other people what are you talking about? Carry the boat?
Yeah. No, that's funny. Because a lot of people probably, I would say that, I think Goggins is probably, he's that he's big enough that Marathon World know him.
Yeah, for
I know
sure.
definitely the Ultra World does, but Marathon World too.
Yeah.
Hey, a couple other books you need to put on your list. These were some of my top books from last year. Red Rising series. I don't know if you've heard of that or not.
No.
It's kind of sci-fi fantasy, really good. And then Project Hail Mary. Project Hail Mary is a one-off book. It's the same author that wrote The Martian.
Okay.
Phenomenal. Well, Red Rising is a book series, so it's a 3-book series, and then it goes into 3 more that are kind of like 10 years afterwards. I haven't read those yet, but man, Red Rising, that's like the man's man of books.
Red Rising.
I think if I can get you Dungeon Crawler Carl, Red Rising, and Project Hail Mary, I've won you over, and I don't think you'll ever go back. And you'll be like, bro, what's next? And then we'll get you into some like deep, like Brandon Sanderson style fantasy.
All right, I'm gonna text these in my phone. The Red Rising.
Yep. I'm gonna have him hooked. Last year I read 24 books in 2024 I read 24 books. Like I said, I just listen to them when I run. So a book, some of these fantasy books, my gosh, they're like 26, 30 hours long. Reading in them, listening to them.
Yeah.
And so, man, that's almost sometimes a full month of running.
Yeah.
I lied. That's like a week, but
yeah, right. 30 hours.
But yeah, some of them are long books, and it's like, yeah.
When you find yourself,
you're like, man, am I gonna be able to handle this for 30 hours?
When you find yourself running more just to finish the book, there's something wrong.
Oh, I know. Yeah, and I've done that before, where I'm like, you know what? I got like 2 hours left. I feel like I can just bang this out.
Yeah, there was I got into some. It was 2018, I think it was, and just to some, weird books. God, what was the girl with no thumbs or something? I can't remember. I'll have to look it up. But I remember they made a movie out of it. It's about a girl with a big, huge thumb that she was born with. Like, her thumb is so big, she couldn't, do anything besides stick her thumb out. So she figured out she was really good at hitchhiking. So she got addicted.
A book of her hitchhiking?
Well, she got addicted to hitchhiking, and then she was going to have surgery, and it's about this whole thumb thing.
What a weird addiction.
Yeah, and this was set back in the 70s, I want to think.
Okay.
So, it was still okay to hitchhike, but we're getting to that time where there's weird shit going on, and she was like junior high, and she'd disappear for a few days, and her parents would find her, and she'd come home, and she'd been hitchhiking.
What people get addicted to blows my mind. As I say that, and we we run stupid amount of miles every week to train for a race that takes stupid amount of time, but that's neither here nor there.
I remember I was on a long run, and it was snowing so hard. And it was just an hour back in Fort Collins, Colorado. And I remember I ran the 10 miles out, and I turned around, and it's just like complete whiteout. I can't even see my footsteps on the way back. There's so much snow.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm just listening to this book. I don't see a soul out there, right? And I get back to the car, and I'm like, oh, I've got like an hour left of this book. So I just ran another half hour out the other direction, then turned around and ran back to finish the book. And it was pretty funny because it turned into, I don't know. I remember getting back, and I think I was gone for like 6 hours or something because my mom was watching my daughter. And they're like, was everything okay? I'm like, yeah, I told my mom. My mom loves books. She gives me books all the time.
Completely understood that.
Yeah. So it's like, I was just in this book. She's like, okay.
That's awesome. What have you been up to, man? I feel like we haven't had a one-on-one Tales from the Trails conversation in a long time.
We haven't. We haven't even recorded a podcast for a while. You had your little Tucson little trip.
Yeah, I took a trip down to Tucson for work. I got sick bad. I don't know what it was. Who knows? I went on a run that Sunday. I got there on Saturday afternoon. I went on a run Sunday, out in the desert. I think maybe some of the desert heat got to me. I think I got like some kind of respiratory thing going on. I was having like headache. I don't know. It was a lot. I usually will run through most crap because I'm like, I can handle it, right? I know that's not sometimes the best, but
Yeah.
I can usually handle it. I took a full week off. I was knocked out. Headaches, dizziness, kind of nausea, coughing. It was just like, it was so weird. Like, and I still kind of have like a little respiratory thing. Like I've been running fine, but like when I stop running, I'm like, man, this is like, it's kind of bothering me a little bit. I don't think it was COVID or any of that. I think it was just like some kind of funk that went around. I don't know, but
Yeah, there's been that. I mean, a couple different funks going around.
yeah. But yeah, it knocked me out for a full week, and like that normally does not happen. And I missed my race. I was training for a trail marathon up here in Alaska. So what I was going to do is I was going to fly down to Tucson, do my week of training, and then fly back Friday, get back here at midnight, 1 o'clock, and start the race at 8. But just, traveling, the sickness, like it took me out. And so I ended up having to miss the race, but whatever. It sucks, but it is what it is.
And that would have been. Well, I'm glad you didn't run the race because you'd probably be more fucked up than you were already. But
yeah, and that was kind of my thinking behind it. Like, I was a little upset the day of that I missed it, but, it's like that was a C race for me. It wasn't, A or B race. And so I'm 14 weeks out from Kettle Moraine. That's my focus. It's like, had I run this 26 miles, what would the impact have been, to my race coming up? Like, would it knock me out for 3 or 4 more weeks? And then now I'm 3 or 4 weeks behind on training for Kettle Moraine. It's like, to me, it wasn't worth taking the risk of, going out and running it.
And all honesty, it would probably have been more of a junk run anyways,
Yeah.
You already weren't feeling well. It would just been.
Yeah, I was training with my buddy, Matt. We trained pretty much the whole winter to run this race together. And I saw him yesterday, and I told him, I was like, man, it sucks I wasn't able to make it. And he was like, you know what? Wasn't that big of a deal. He wasn't upset at all. He ended up podiuming the race and everything, so it was good. But I told him, man, I was like, dude, it would have sucked for you. It would have sucked for me. Like, it wouldn't have been worth it. And so, yeah, no FOMO anymore. Had a little bit that day, but that's over with,
Yeah.
$100 down the drain. It's all good. Got some socks out of it.
Yeah, those ones hurt. I remember I was signed up for Speedgoat one year, and it was just a lot of stuff going on, and I wasn't training. And that's one of those races, if you're not, getting in the vert. I mean, could I have finished? Yeah, it would have been a long day. Yeah, whatever. But I remember, I drove down there and stayed at my dad's house and was just like, I remember waking up the day of the race and I'm like, I'm not going to run it. So I drove up there anyways, and I was like, I'm just gonna run up the the course a little bit. And I'm running up the course from the start line, and I get maybe, I don't know, mile and a half in there, and I see Carl running down with some flags in his hand. And he stops, he's like, what the fuck are you doing? I was like, man, I just wasn't feeling it. He goes, yeah, this is one of those races, if you're not feeling it, it's better off not to run it. I was like, yeah, he's like, I've been there, done that. He's like, you're still here. I said, yeah, I think that was the year the Sage broke the course record. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure that was the year Sage came in first. And he's like, just go back to the finish line, drink some beer, and, eat some pizza and hang out. Be good. It'll be a good day. And he was my coach at the time, and I was like, I felt shame. Like, I paid the money and, drove all the way down there. And then I show up for there, and I'm just running up the course, kind of banding it, and run into the race director and my coach. But it was all good, though, so I went back and hung out.
Is it truly a bandit if you paid for the race and you just didn't toe the line?
That's a good question. I guess I wasn't really banding it because I didn't even make it to an aid station.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even if you did, you paid for the race. So
Yeah, no, I did eat pizza and drink beer. So
yeah, so technically, I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
Hey, here's another question. If you DNF a race or you DNS a race, but you get the swag, do you wear the swag?
I don't.
You don't.
Well, like it depends. If it's a shirt, why? I guess I've only. Oh no, I've got so many. I had so many Speedgo shirts that one just went away. I just got rid of it. I gave it away. Socks, I'll wear. The shirt, I won't wear. But that's like the only race that's happened at. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I think about that sometimes, and that's a big question that a lot of people, talk about. I wouldn't say it's a question, but a lot of people talk about that. Do you wear the shirt? I remember having a conversation with somebody one time and they DNF'd the Black Hills 100 and they were like, I'm not wearing that shirt until I finish the race and then I'll wear the shirt. I'm just like, man, that to me, like that was a weird thing because, like training for these big events, these 100-mile races, it takes months to prepare for them. And so it's like the race itself is just kind of where you show up.
Yeah.
You run for a few hours and you get your buckle or your medal. Like all of, I say all the race is the months before, the early mornings, the late nights, the back-to-backs, the doubles. Like that is the race.
Yeah.
And so in my opinion, like you've put in all the work, like why not wear the shirt? I mean, I get like it holds a little bit of like against you, but if you DNF'd it, like you still participated in the race, like it just wasn't your day for some reason. You put in all the work, you did all the work. I don't know. That's me.
No, I mean, I get it. Some people, hold that as motivation.
Yeah, I can see that too.
I mean, I got two Black Hills 100 shirts for volunteering.
Yeah.
I wear the shit out of those shirts.
Yeah, I have a Black Hills 100 shirt on that. I ran that race, but
I mean, I wear mine, quite a bit. I didn't run the race, but I put in the work of volunteering.
Yeah, I get that too. Yeah, that's good.
But yeah, I don't know. I guess my thing is I never wear the shirt during the race.
Oh no, never during the race. Oh my gosh, never. That's like the biggest thing. That's the biggest no-no. Like, but you see it happen, like, especially on road races. Like, I see it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I've been running a road race and people are wearing the shirt from I'm like, come on.
Really?
To
me, it's just like bad juju. Like, I don't know.
It really is.
Yeah.
You're asking for something to happen.
Yeah. But yeah, the first year I ran Speedgoat, the shirts were badass Patagonia shirts. Then as the race got popular, the shirts kind of just became regular race shirts, and I had a bunch of them. So I just, when I did the quad banger, I got a shirt and a pair of socks for each event.
What is a quad banger?
So it was the vertical mile on Friday. Then you did Speedgo 50K on Saturday. Then on Sunday, you did this thing called quad banger, where you rode the lift up and you ran downhill. Then you rode the lift back up and ran downhill. And it was a net loss of 11,000 feet. Oh. Yeah, so what you gained on the day before and lost in the 50K, on Sunday, you just run it all downhill. Then the vertical mile.
After doing it, the day before.
Yeah, so then, the vertical mile was just straight up vertical mile.
Yeah,
where
5,000.
You just ran up the ski hill, then you rode the lift down. Then we had the 50K, then we had the quad banger.
Yeah.
And it was like...
Do those all still exist, or?
No. He did that for a couple of years, then he didn't have much participation in the quad banger. I mean...
I wonder.
Right. The year I did it was the first year, and Zach Marion just freaking smoked it. I think I came in 6th, and Nikki Kimball was right in front of me, and she came in 5th. Then on the vertical mile, I don't remember what I came in on the vertical mile, but Nikki Kimball was right in front of me on the vertical mile. So that was kind of cool. I got to hang out with her for 2 days. Do you know who Nikki Kimball is?
I don't.
She's an old school ultra runner. She has that documentary, The Hard Trail. I can't remember what it's called. She doesn't run much anymore. She still probably runs. But it was just kind of cool getting to hang out with her. She's won Western States before. She's
I'm sure if I
badass.
saw a picture of her, I would
Oh yeah,
probably recognize.
she's got red
yeah.
hair. You couldn't miss her.
Yeah.
She's, but it was pretty cool event. Then the quad banger went away, and they kept doing the vertical mile because you could get people to sign up for the vertical mile. Because I think it was, I want to say it was no more than 4 miles, but you're getting 5,500 feet of gain essentially on that.
Yeah.
So you're not running at all. You're walking very, very slow because it's so damn steep.
It's incredible. I wanted to do it on a treadmill. I thought of doing a vertical mile on the treadmill would be hilarious. I broke my treadmill, so that doesn't seem like that's going to happen anytime soon.
How'd you break it?
I have no idea. I put so many miles on it that it just the metal just snapped on the back. And so where
really?
it normally sits straight, it sits catty cornered now. And so it bangs against one of the walls and I don't know. I'm sure
sucks.
I could probably call them and be like, hey, the metal snapped on this thing. What's up? I don't know. We'll see what they say, but I don't know, I've been lazy. So
wasn't Matt Johnson trying to climb Everest on the treadmill?
I've always had this thought. Well, recently I've had this thought, where does it end?
Yeah.
We got dudes running, what was it? Paul Johnson went to Antarctica to run 100 miles to set the world record for the fastest 100 mile in Antarctica.
Yeah.
We now have the Arizona Monster 300. We have
Is it 350?
I think it's 300.
Is it just 300? No,
I think it is just 3. I mean, at what point? What is 3 to 350?
I think it.
I think it's the Arizona Monster. I think it's 300, but
okay.
maybe
I think it's 300.
Just...
But how Candace does her numbers thing, then it's always farther.
Yeah, it's probably 300, but it's actually 375. But
yeah.
But and you got all those the Tennessee races Vol State and all the 500K, and you're
yeah.
Running 100 miler is not even that cool anymore. And it's where does it end? You got Matt Johnson wanting to run Everest on a treadmill, and it's where does it end, man? What?
No.
Are we just gonna we got the ITI. We can't forget about the ITI. 1,000 miles. 1,000 miles.
That's been going on for a long time.
Yeah, I have no idea, man. Where does this crap end? Running 100 is not even that cool anymore.
Yeah, so
it's cool to me.
The Arizona Monster is 259 miles of single track, 34 miles of bike paths, 9.5 miles of paved road, and 6 miles of dirt road. So it's over 300.
Yeah,
of course.
Bike.
No, I know, I know what you mean. I was having this conversation with someone, just talking about ultra running, and I was telling them about 100-mile races, and they were like, "That's crazy." And I said, "That's just the tip of the iceberg."
It really is. If you think about it in the ultra world, that the 100-miler is becoming the half marathon.
Yeah, and didn't Camille just run 500?
I don't know. I did after Camille started deleting people's wikis. I stopped following her.
Yeah, so I quit following her then too, but something popped up on social media. I think she ran 500 miles over the weekend.
Oh my God.
Whatever.
Over the weekend.
Well, yeah. Yeah, whatever. But I was, explaining to someone, 100 miles, and they couldn't even wrap their head around that. And I says, well, there's multiple 200 milers. I said, then if you go into these, days of running, then we always forget about the Iditarod. Then if we look back, in history, those...
Or Last Man Standing.
Last Man Standing.
400 miles. Harvey Lewis did 400, 435 or something like that? Mm-hmm. Last Man Standing? God, I just can't wrap my head around that crap.
I'm sure someone's shooting for 1,000 miles.
It's so stupid. Well, I mean, you have all these people that run across America or, run across the state of Texas, and it's just hey, I'm just going to casually run across America. And it's not even that big of a thing anymore. No one's just okay,
No. No, it's
Yeah.
kind of funny because, Buff Runner is going to be running across Utah.
Yeah.
And then he's going to be going, across America.
And we're not even batting an eye. It's not even that thing. Like, oh, you're going to run across Utah? How many miles? Like 200 and something miles? Like, all right.
Yeah.
We're so stupid.
I don't know when our minds will go, holy shit, that's far.
Yeah. I know, because like I've only run 100, you've only run 100. And so it's like, but to us, a 200 doesn't seem out of reach.
Yeah.
And we're going to do one this year.
We're going to do one. Yeah, we're going to be doing it.
It's not even, well, we don't know yet because we haven't done it yet. We're like, oh, shit, 200 is way out of our reach.
But we've got enough experience that we know if we just put one foot in front of another that we can make that 200. Yeah. We can make whatever. We're not even bringing up the Appalachian Trail or the Pacific.
Yeah. Tara Dower's setting the AT record, and then going out to Black Canyon like a month later and throwing down like what? Like I'd be out of the running business for months. Give me a chair in 6 months.
Well, she was probably like 60 miles. I just did,
Yeah, exactly.
2,000 miles. This is just half a day.
She averaging like 55, 60 miles a day or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's not easy terrain.
No. Yeah. What is that podcast, the Ultra History or whatever, with Davy Crockett?
Yeah, the Ultra in History with Davy Crockett.
Listening to some of those, they weren't, what they call them, pedestrian races or something like that.
Oh, yeah, like the walkathons.
Yeah, where they would walk like 6 days, and it was usually women, and there was tons of betting, and mobs were involved, and all that stuff. That wasn't too long ago.
No, really, like the early 1900s.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's just,
we need to bring those back.
I think that would be cool. Like, geez, now I got the junk stuck in my throat.
I got you sick through the microphone.
But just like, even, Ultraverse supplements with their is it 7 day they got?
Yeah, they do have a 7 day. Is that the Ultra Days or whatever?
Ultra Days, yeah.
Yeah.
How cool would that just be to go? Well, in our brains, it would be cool. Not in a lot of people's brains.
Yeah, ran for a week.
But just to go like, hey, I'm just going to go hang out at this place and get as many miles as I can in 7 days.
And it's like running in a 1 mile circle for 7 days.
Yeah. Oh, when I'm tired, I'll just go take a nap.
We don't even bat an eye at how stupid that is.
Yeah.
I've really wanted to do one of those like 72-hour races where you run in a circle for like 72 hours.
I think it'd be cool.
I don't know why I'm fascinated by it. And you would have thought that when I did that 50K that would have been enough, like the 1 mile thing, that would have been enough. But I'm like, man, it's still like in the back of my brain ticking, like, I want to go do a 72-hour race and see how many miles I could get. Because normally those races are fairly flat. Maybe they're not like some of them are on a concrete or bike path, but like the one I did, and then Jackpot, I think, is this weekend or was last weekend or something.
A couple weekends ago, yeah.
Yeah. And so, Jackpot is
concrete mostly.
Yeah.
I think it's mostly concrete. I could be wrong. I thought it was.
Yeah.
I think
it is. What's
intriguing though is, and this just goes back to our mentality of, we get to go on vacation. We get to go see somewhere new.
What kind of vacation is 72 hours in a circle?
Yeah. We get to forget about everything in our lives for that 72 hours. Yeah. Really. And the people we'll meet, the experiences, what we can do for ourselves, push the limit with ourselves, or not push the limit. We might have so much fun, be like, shit, I did 50 miles and I hung out in the aid station and helped for 5 hours and took a nap, then went back out on the course for 10 hours, whatever. Like, we just get so caught up in the experience of the whole event. That's what I know. That's what it is for me.
Yeah.
There's connection there. Like, we can show up to an ultra event and look at the person next to us, and all you do is look at them in the eye and go, fuck yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. You don't even have to say words, really. It's just, we're here to have fun, push the limits, and that's, pretty much it.
Bro, how crazy is the starting line of an ultra? it's wild. Like we literally just stand there. It's like
Yeah,
we're
that is
just
true.
standing around talking. Like I have been crew at an ultra and been in the pack when the race started because I was like, oh, I gotta get out of here. But I'm
Yep.
just sitting there talking to people. Like how wild is that? It's so
Like-
stupid. Like you go to a marathon, people are like serious and like
Right,
warming
like
up and ready to
Leg
go.
swings and yeah.
I mean, I get it. You're like blowing out the gate and you're running at like, RP 8-9 for 3 to 4 hours. And then, an ultra, like we're walking for 30, but like,
But even if it were, you show up to a 50K, it's going to be the same
yeah, it's the same
environment.
Yeah.
It doesn't change.
Well, that's what's cool about our, like we have people in both, 100-mile, 50K, no matter what it is, all the ultra races. Like we have people that are there to just have fun and chill and hang out. And then we have people that are taking it serious and, up front doing their thing. So I mean, that happens in the marathon world too. I'm not oblivious to that, but the starting lines are just so much different.
But how cool is it that we can, fanboy or fangirl out and show up to a race that, they may be competing at and rub shoulders with them at the starting line or before the race at the registration, at the packet pickup, during the race, sometimes after the race, like, and, think about, your favorite NFL team. Like, you're never going to be able to talk to one of those athletes unless some weird situation happens, right? You just don't go to the game and you just can't go down to the field and talk to these people.
No.
With our sport, you pay your registration, you show up, and you can go out there and have those conversations with those people. They're not so far out of reach. Yeah. They're the same as you as I. They're just faster or whatever may be it.
A lot faster.
Yeah. And, it's so weird because I remember the first time I met Jim Walmsley at Hard Rock, I was like thinking, oh, this guy's going to be so out there because I put him on this pedestal already. He's so out there. I won't even be able to talk to him. I'm just some other runner. Then he introduced himself. We shook hands and I was like, he was asking me questions and I was like, whoa, what? I was, like, what is going on here? And then sitting down and, sharing stories with them, then continue. Then there's other people there. And I was like, it felt like a dream. Yeah. Like I idolize this person for what they do in the sport, but I was there and be able to experience or, share experience with them that wasn't out of reach, where I know with like, favorite musicians or actors or actresses, like we'll never be able to do that unless something special happens. But
speaking of Jim, did you see that video of him running an Air Viper race and like flying down the trail?
No. Is that the new one that came out?
Yeah, it was just like a race that was happening this weekend and he was running the 50K and like the cameraman, dude, I'm so impressed by the cameraman. It was just like, this guy's, I don't know how fast he was going, but he was throwing down and I'm like, golly, Jim has got it. He's going back.
I didn't see that. I'm gonna have to find it.
Yeah, you'll have to check it out, man, dude.
Did he win the race?
Oh, I'm 100% sure. I have no idea if he won the race, but I'm 100% sure he did. Just the speed he was moving on those trails. I mean, he had to be throwing down like 6-7 minute miles on those trails. It was insane.
Somehow I came across some David Roche videos. I don't know how they fall into my YouTube algorithm because a lot of it's not ultra running. But he was on this hill that I used to run. It's called Gold Hill. It's a really popular training run. You run up this road. It's all uphill. It's 10 miles up to Gold Hill. It's an old mining town outside of Boulder. Then you run back into Boulder, or you can get a ride back. And before Scout Mountain 100, that was like my last big training run. With bomb up that thing, and then run as fast as I could down it. And I saw this video with him, and it was titled "Running Gold Hill," and he was talking. And like I said, I've never watched any of his videos. I really don't know him as a person or anything besides what he's done. But it was kind of cool to sit there and listen to him be very open, and he's not sponsored by anyone. And he's wearing a microphone, those like Rode microphones, as he's running. So he's just like, when he can, he's having some conversation and talking about, why he's doing all this other stuff and what he's doing to, try to win Western States. And that was another thing that was just like, if you get it, you get it. They're right there. Those people are right there with us. They're no different than you and I. They are, of course. They're a lot fucking faster. And they have different mindsets and all that, but they're still out there putting in the hard work as you and I do, everyone else does. But I think it's really cool that he's just putting himself out there like that. Kind of reminds me of Jim Walmsley putting himself out there like all those times, and he failed. And I just remember all the shit people talked.
Yeah.
Then when he did it, it was like, he did it, and he did it. And he did it good.
I think this year's Western is going to be a real competitive in both the men's and the women's.
Yeah.
Especially with David Roach going out, Walmsley, Hayden. Yeah, it's going to be an insane year.
Yeah, and, as we've learned, nutrition is... they're getting better at nutrition.
Oh, yeah, phenomenal.
If you could take...
Have you seen the thing David does? Like, he drinks, like, an entire bottle, like a humongous bottle of stuff, and then goes and does a speed workout. Mm-hmm. And that's how he trains, like, his gut with his, like, sloshing. And I was like, I can't even imagine I'd be throwing up everywhere.
Yeah, there was something that's like, well, I got to know what it feels like to do it. And I got to take in this amount of calories per hour. And there's no other way to do it besides doing it this way. So,
yeah.
Because I think he was saying 400 calories an hour or something.
Yeah, he's a real high carb guy.
Yeah.
I do somewhere between...
I think it was 400 grams of carbs an hour, not calories.
Oh, no way he's doing 400 grams. That's a lot. I would assume he's doing like 120, 150.
Now I'm going to have to go back and watch.
Because that'd be like 400 calories probably.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think 100 grams of carbs is about 400 calories.
100 grams of carbs?
Yeah.
Okay.
100 grams of carbs is about 400. So yeah, there would be no way, because that'd be like 1,000 calories an hour.
Oh.
There's no way.
Yeah, you're right. I don't know what I was thinking. I get that'd be pretty cool to witness though.
Yeah, because I think it's 4 calories per gram. Yeah, so
of carb.
I think,
yeah.
Yeah, I think per gram is 4 calories.
Yeah.
So that makes okay. Yeah, that'd be a lot.
What is one fat is 8 calories.
I think 9.
One protein is 6.
I think carbs and protein are the same, 4, and then I think fat is 9, 8 or 9. Okay. I could be wrong, and I'm sure that I'm going to get fact checked on this, but I think it's 4, 4, and 9, but could be way off.
I used to know all those numbers, but
yeah, I did too.
I just don't care anymore.
Maybe I still know them. I don't know. Yeah, I don't care anymore either.
Yeah, like I don't.
But yeah, I would think he's taking in about. I don't know if the body could handle that 400 grams. So 400 calories with 100 grams sounds more realistic.
Yeah, it sounds more realistic.
100 grams is insane though.
Yeah.
Like 100 grams an hour. I take like 50, 60 an hour because obviously I'm not moving as fast and my body's not burning as much. And so I think 60 works really well for me. And like sometimes, man, that's tough to get in. I can't even imagine these guys doing more than that.
Yeah, for me, I'm doing, the 2 scoops a cluster an hour.
Yeah.
But, when I do slow down, of course, that intake slows down too.
I've been trying out a couple things. So I got the cluster 2 Roctane. It's really good. I don't know if you've tried it or not. But
I've tried it.
Yeah, that stuff is really good.
The powder?
The mixture. Yeah, the powder.
Okay,
Not any of the gels.
Not the gel. Oh,
no.
I was going to say the gels I can't do.
And
I can do the normal goose, but not the Roctane.
Yeah. And then always, Tailwind is always another one that I've used. I just bought the Naked Tailwind. I've never tried it before. I'm gonna see what it's like. I just want to keep the body guessing a little bit.
Yeah.
Have you tried the carb? They're called carbs. They're gels. They're like 50 grams of carbs
By who?
in the gels. They're literally called carbs.
That's what it's called. It's carbs.
Yeah, the brand is Carbs.
Never heard of it.
It's like it's a good brand, like Carbs. Hey, what brand is that? It's Carbs. Oh,
That's pretty funny.
yeah, they're like 50 grams. They're pretty good. I like them.
Never even heard of them.
I think they're on the same lines of, like the Mortons but I don't remember. I took them a while ago, and so I just bought a little sample pack of them, and I don't remember being as thick as like the Mortons. Precision are always kind of the go-to as well, but
Yeah.
But Mortons are 25, Precisions are 30s. And It's like I'd have to take 2 of those an hour, where this one is like 50 grams, so it's like, that and a little bit extra, but
What's
they're not
what's
terrible.
the blue package?
Couldn't tell you, man. Don't know. I just ordered
300 calories, 75 grams of carbs. Oh, it's a drink mix.
Oh, it's a drink mix.
I mean, that's pretty good too. I'm gonna have to try these. Never even heard of it. 50 grams.
Yeah, they're 50 grams per gel.
Is it like the normal gel size packet?
They're a little bit bigger, but
Okay.
they're not. I mean, they're not anything like, the Precision that has the 90 grams that has the little screw
Twist
cap
off.
on them.
Yep.
They're not that big, but
Okay.
they're, I'd say they're a little bit bigger than. They're probably like double the size of what a Goop pack is.
Okay. When I was in Utah, Ryan gave me one of those cis
Yeah, which ones? The betas or the
betas.
Yeah, those are good.
That was really good. I was
And
surprised.
I think they're 40 grams in those.
And they're cheap.
Yeah. Well, that's the cool thing about the carbs. Those carb gels are $2.
Oh, dang.
Yeah. And I think per carb, like packaging, they're the cheapest gel out there.
They're 50 grams, yeah.
50 grams at $2.
Because I was at Shills today and they had goo for $2 a packet.
Yeah, but goo's gross.
But goo was, 25?
Goo
20?
is 25.
25, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So you get double that for $2.
Yeah, you get double that for the same price.
I'm going to have to...
But they're not going to have like your banana strawberry and all that crap.
After switching over to Morton,
Yeah.
like I'm better without the flavor. And that cis I had no flavor.
Yeah. Yep.
It was just like naked. I'm good with just the no flavor stuff now.
Yeah, I would say the carb ones, they do have a little bit of kind of like a sugar taste to them, but it's not bad. I'd be interested to see how they do on like longer runs, and I'm going to try them out on like, if I go on like a 5-hour run, I'm going to try them out for 5 hours and kind of see what they do and how they sit in my stomach. But, on the runs that I've tried them on, they're pretty good.
Have
a really good taste to them.
If I need some rocket fuel, I'll just do a Martin with caffeine in it. It's the worst tasting thing ever.
You are brave. That is ass.
It is.
I don't understand. When you add caffeine to any gel, it is so bad. I don't get it, man. It's so bad.
Well,
it is awful.
What was it? Those Cliff black cherry caffeine ones?
I never got into the Cliff ones.
Any of the, just my opinion, any of the Cliff gels are just no good.
Really?
The gummies are fine, but the gels, but that black cherry, then they have like a double espresso with caffeine. When they are warm, my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember like, what is it? Strawberry banana goo when it was warm.
Yep.
I'm just like throwing up in my mouth right now. Goo is so gross. Remember that naked one they had too?
Oh, yeah.
But it still had flavor.
Did you ever try the IPA one they had?
They had an IPA one?
Yeah.
I can't even imagine the horrendous taste that one had.
It was, like up front was IPA, like, the floral resiny taste.
Yeah.
But then the after was like, the cake batter of
dirt.
Goo. Yeah, it was, I think they only did them one summer when the feed was doing, get that bottle or whatever, you spend so much money and get the bottle.
Yeah.
My sister bought a box of the s'mores Goo.
Oh.
And it was like wintertime, so they were pretty good cold. Then once, warmed up, she's like, I go over there and she's like, here, you got to take this box. I can't do them anymore. I'm like, okay. And
And you immediately threw them in the trash because they're
no,
that bad.
like I was fine for the like first while. Then the warmer it got, and the longer the runs got, and like I'd use everything else, and I'm like, oh, I got a s'mores, and oh my gosh, yeah, I'm throwing up in my mouth now.
Have you tried the new? I know a couple of people are gonna hate me for this comment, but have you tried the new e-gels?
No,
Okay.
never heard of it.
Their taste is really good, and they're pretty high carb. They have sodium in them. The mixture is really good. Like, everything is good. They are thicker than goos and like double the size of what a goo is. Oh my gosh, it's so bad. It like getting it down. It's just like, when you're like you've been in a race for like 8 to 10 hours and you take a gel and you kind of like somewhat throw it up in your mouth. Like,
Yeah.
That's what it's like trying to swallow one in the first hour. It's so bad. It just like, it gets stuck and like,
Oh, they're made by that Crink Sports, huh?
Yeah, that's who makes them is Crank Sports. I wanted to like them. They got really good advertising. Like the guy that I've listened to a couple of his like podcast or social media stuff, and he's got some good stuff out there about them. But I'm like, I can't. Now their drink mixtures are really good. I've tried a couple of their drink mixtures and they're really good, but their gels, be ready for double the thickness of a goo.
Ugh.
It's bad. And then like if you don't get it all out of your out of the package and you roll it up and put it in your pack, it's going to leak out and it's going to get everywhere. I had like a sticky pack for like a week, and I was I'd reach it, I'd be like, ugh. And you everybody's like, well, you should have just taken it out and washed it, right? Yeah, I should have, but I didn't because.
Why would we do that?
Yeah, why would I wash my pack? Get out of here! I'm just waiting for it. Let me just wait for it to rain, then I'll wash my pack.
Yeah. Roll around in the mud.
I can't.
That's what. That new, like the only downside of the the Solomon and the Advanced Skin, the 12. I don't know if they have a new one this year, but in the very OG one, they had like this awesome like trash pocket. It was like perfect. It was just there, and you could just throw stuff in there. And
was it the little bitty pocket?
Yeah.
That like no one knew what it was for.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know what that was for either. I cut
But
it down.
now on the other one, it's got that like pocket. It's hanging by nylon, and it never like whoever came up with the design. You need to try it because you can't get a goddamn gel package in there. And once you do, it gets sticky all over the place, and then it ends up falling out. Then you drop them on the ground. I know this from experience. I quit using them. I just started using my shorts pockets because
oh my gosh,
I was like, I'm gonna get sticky, right? You already know you're gonna get sticky.
Yeah, that's
But
like the worst part of running an ultra is like when you wait, like in the morning when it's like you're running in the first sunlight and you're like, why are my hands sticky? My hands are always sticky and I don't understand why. Like I wash them at aid stations, like I'll like take a drink of my water and spit it in my hands and wash them, and it's just like they're just sticky.
Yeah,
I don't know, it's crazy.
I've always wondered why some of the aid stations, they don't have like a place for us to wash our hands.
I don't know. I'm assuming like what a pain that would be to get it to some of those backcountry aid stations.
I'm not
a hand washing station.
Yeah, I get those ones, but like if Bighorn can have a place to wash your feet.
Yeah.
I mean, usually we wash our...
Bighorn hits different though.
Yeah. Usually we all wash our hands in the creek, but if there's no creek, then we're not washing our hands. But
I'm not washing my hands in those Bighorn creeks because like,
oh yeah, right.
If you fall in, you're done. That's not a creek. That's a river.
Like the Tongue River is just like water's right below the bridge, and if you fall in, you're going for a nice little ride.
And then those one bridges where they just like cut trees down and make like a wooden plank across this like roaring river. You're like, what are we doing out here? Like I'm risking my life. I'm walking across a single tree they just cut down. I'm like, oh my God. It's like bending and swaying and the river's moving at 100 miles an hour below my feet. Like every time I've ran that section, I'm like, man, I'm going to die right here. This is it. And it's always been a freshly cut bridge too. Like,
yeah.
Dang.
Then, when I was, last time we were there and I was running down the middle of the night looking for Alex, And, I'd been sitting all day at Jaws, so I'm tired or whatever. Get woke up by the glacier water right after you get off the road and get on the trail. That section where you come down, I think it's Elk Creek or Elk Camp.
Yeah, Elk Camp.
Where you come down and there's that aid station. It's like middle of nowhere and that little hut look thing they have. And
yeah.
I don't remember if it was before that or after that though. And there's that creek that's just raging right next to you on the side, and you're just sliding down the mud. I was by myself, and I'm like, this get a little dangerous right here. I could just slide right off the trail and no one would ever know.
Yeah, that section's awful.
Yeah.
Like numb feet. The mud is insane. I saw someone today on Instagram put a picture of like them running through the mud and was like training for Bighorn. And I was like, that mud ain't nothing compared to what Bighorn mud is.
Yeah, it's so funny. Like the only way to go train in Bighorn mud is to go in the Bighorns and
run in the mud.
And I've said this before. Every time I've ran in multiple different places in the Bighorns, and there's always that same fucking mud. It doesn't matter what trail and what part of the range I'm on, there's always mud.
If your shoe does not come off,
yeah,
you've not experienced Bighorn mud.
I don't know how many times I've seen where, coming back towards the finish after Jaws, middle of the night, and, people are getting their shoes sucked off. And they're, 60-ish miles in?
Yeah, about almost 70 miles in, yeah, at Sally's.
They're already in the pain cave and hurting.
Yeah.
And then they're over there digging in the mud, trying to find their shoe. And I don't even know how to explain this mud. Like, there's no way to explain it. Like, because it's so big. Like, I couldn't say, like, take a swimming pool full of mud, because it's way bigger than a swimming pool. Like, anyway, just use your imagination. But it's thick and it's knee deep in places.
And when you fall and you're just like,
I mean, we've all ran in it, and you sink up to your knee or your hip, and it's like when you're running in the snow and you punch through the top layer down in the deep stuff and you're like thigh deep. It's something else.
Yeah, love it. All right, Robbie, I've never asked you this question, so today's Tales of the Trails, we're going to ask,
okay,
if you could be one dinosaur, what dinosaur would you be?
I would want to go with the flying one, but I don't think I'm going to go with the flying one. I want to be like the brontosaurus or something, the big, huge one that can go hang out in the water and eat the stuff off the bottom. Or I always forget about this one, the Triceratops, the one with 3 horns.
Yeah, I always forget about
that big old 3-horn battle laid on its head. I always thought that one was cool. But I've always been, I don't know, I think it was in cartoons when I was younger, like when you'd see the brontosaurus and like cartoons, people would be sliding down the tail. The Flintstones. That's where it came from.
Yeah.
Like sliding down the tail and all that. Yeah, I want to be the big brontosaurus.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, Robbie, it's been fun talking to you. It's been great catching up. We didn't really have any topics on Tales of the Trails, but that's sometimes what it's like. And so hopefully you enjoyed this episode. If you didn't, we don't care. Leave us a review anyways. Leave us a comment on the Instagram page. Follow us. Send it out to somebody. Let them know that we're dumb trail runners that like to have fun. And if you want to be a guest on the podcast, just hit us up. We're always looking for a guest. And guess what? We'll see you on the trails.